Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And before we fully jump on into this video, I just want to ask everyone, how are you all doing? The weekend is finally here, so I do hope that everyone has a great weekend. Today, we have a few things to go over. Obviously, regulatory issues within the US have not been the easiest for us to endure, especially if you are an XRP holder. It has been well over, 2 years since the SEC brought on the case against Ripple, and we have been enduring the process since. But today, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about a few things happening right now around the SEC, specifically within the US and also around Congress. We do see here from CoinDesk, the current consensus is ignorance is bliss. This is from Warren Davidson, who was also the individual that discussed his plan to restructure, but also fire Gary Gensler. And we do see says about the view towards crypto regulation inside the US Congress. He discusses his pitch to restructure the SEC gov and remove the chair, Gary Gensler. And listen closely to this video. It is about 1 minute and 12 seconds long.
How would you describe the current mood in Congress towards the cryptocurrency industry and towards the SEC? It doesn't seem like there's any unity here on this topic.
I'd say the current consensus is ignorance is bliss. Most people have no clue what we're talking about. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand why it's different. They don't understand why anybody needs it. That's why, in a lot of ways, it is analogous to the internet. In the 90s, there were lots of folks Nobel Prize winning economists who thought that the internet would be nothing more than a fax machine. They missed it by a bit. And I think the digital asset space it has a lot of potential for it's going to happen around the world, whether we do it and become left behind in our market that should be leading and still is, but is developing fast rivals. So I think we have to get clarity, and we have to do it in a way where the people that do understand it are trusted by our colleagues to create a framework. That's what happened in 1996, and that's what still hasn't happened. We've been calling for it in a bipartisan way since 2018.
And yeah, I do completely agree. I've been talking a little bit about the idea of the internet, kind of comparing it to crypto. A lot of people have compared it to the telecom industry as well, around telephones and cell phones, etc. So yeah, there's a lot to compare crypto to right now, but on a much larger scale, I will say this: crypto will overshadow any major innovation that has happened within the last, we'll say, 3, maybe 4 decades, because the transformation that will take place with crypto is going to be much larger than what anyone can anticipate. That's why we need to get behind this before it does get, far too big to ignore, while again, all overseas nations have essentially, guess what, adopted it. And the UK has been a big one. So we do see over here, the UK crypto industry is ramping up pressure on local lawmakers to draft crypto regulations now that the European Union's landmark MiCA bill has been approved. Over here, we do see the UK could see live crypto regulation within 12 months. This is crazy. So we've talked about the UK. They have been ready. They've been ready going all the way back to September of 2021. And they have been discussing a lot of plans around CBDCs, around digital assets, crypto innovation, crypto adoption, regulations, and now we are starting to see a large push. Over the next 12 months or so is the window. Griffith said, we've got control back of the rulebook, not something that the UK has had for decades. So we've got the ability to move in an agile and proportionate way, and I'm definitely keen we make the most of that opportunity. So again, as we look at crypto, these are the areas of interest right now. The UK, the UAE, Europe, obviously, Hong Kong, Singapore. A lot of these areas are moving extremely fast, and even Russia recently wanting to utilize crypto for international trade settlement. It's happening, and it's happening very, very fast. I would argue that within the next 12 months, a lot of things are going to look a lot different around crypto. And I really do think that everyone should be paying attention to what's happening outside of the US more so than what we are paying attention to within the US. Yes, we demand answers. Yes, we want to see something happen. But until we start to see things put in place, all this talk is cheap. And we do see the UK embraces crypto, paving the way for Bitcoin and a Web3 innovation hub. Again, I've said they want to become a hub, and I think that this is right on par with their path towards that. Recently, yes, Brian Armstrong, which is the CEO of Coinbase, met with Griffith in London to deliver a speech on how the UK could turbocharge its crypto sector and eventually become a Web3 innovation hub. And again, this is the cost at which we see within the US and how the SEC has handled this industry so far. This is only going to continue to ramp up. And even CZ said it himself. The European Parliament voted for MiCA to be implemented. This means one of the world's largest markets is introducing tailored regulation for crypto to protect users and support innovation. The fine details will matter, but overall, we think this is a pragmatic solution to the challenges we collectively face. There are now clear rules of the game for crypto exchanges to operate in the EU. We're ready to make adjustments to our business over the next 12 to 18 months to be in a position of full compliance. So this is Binance, the largest crypto exchange, coming into compliance with the EU regulations. Now, one thing that I will say, around these regulations, one of the major things that I want to focus on is the fact that, all right, a lot of this might just be pertaining to taxpayer money. They want taxes, they want to collect taxes and things like that. I think that if we could have regulations that bolster this entire industry, allow this industry to continue to thrive and innovate forward without stifling anything, and allowing DeFi to continue to thrive as well, then I fully support the regulations. But if we have regulations that are only pertaining to taxes, getting rid of DeFi, and ultimately taking control of these exchanges to the point where they give the control to those elites like Wall Street, for example, then guess what? Crypto will eventually fail. So we need to make sure that we are allowing for crypto to innovate fully and not stifle this asset class. We want this asset class to not only reach its full potential, but ultimately become an intricate part of the entire financial system. Now, also with all of this in mind, yes, we did start to see a few updates around Coinbase. Remember, Coinbase said that the CEO won't roll out relocating the company away from the US. Armstrong makes comment at FinTech conference in London. The SEC has told Coinbase it plans to bring enforcement action. So the SEC continues to push this, which we've reported on this. We've already talked about it. But today, more than anything, guess what we've seen? Gemini, the US-based crypto exchange, revealed that it plans to open a derivatives platform outside the country. It continues. The narrative continues to move on. And this is not going to stop. Listen, this is going to continue to happen. While we have the SEC, playing games, playing the same game that's played for well over 2 years now, we continue to see innovation moving outside of the US around this asset class. And remember, Gemini is a very large exchange, almost at 500,000 followers. I believe that they might be 7th on the list. I might be wrong on that, but I do believe that they were around roughly the 7 mark. But this is a very large exchange, and it seems as though they want to push outside of the US. And it seems as though this is happening. It's coming soon. So again, another exchange pushed outside of the US. Like always, again, this is only going to continue. And today we did also see that Brian Armstrong, or I should say technically yesterday now, met with the SEC today. We'll continue pushing for a clear rule book in the US for crypto regulations. The US can't afford to fall behind on this important technology to update the financial system. Also important for regulators to set policy and then enforce it. Not start with enforcement before there are clear rules. At this point, it seems like Congress will need to step in. And yeah, it seems as though Congress is preparing for this. I think that, what we've recently just seen and the recent hearing, I do think that we are getting closer and closer to finally having Congress step in and become the voice for crypto, which could very well be a good and or either a bad thing. Because I still believe that a lot of these people don't really know what they're actually talking about. But for what we've seen during the hearing, it seems as though Congress is on the ball. It seems like they've done a lot of research so far, way more research than what Gary Gensler has done. That's for sure. And we even do see over here from the Financial Services GOP, Chair Gensler continues his contradictory statements regarding the classification of specific digital assets. If the law is clear, shouldn't Gary Gensler be able to say which assets are securities? Unfortunately, he won't. Let's roll a tape. And this is like about a 2-minute and 50-second long video, basically just going in depth on how Gary Gensler basically avoids the question on, all right, if the laws are clear, then what are the laws? And he just kind of jumps through hoops and avoids the questions like always. So that's why I say, like, we need to see something happen. We need to see some sort of clarity. And Ryan Selkis over here posted the Gensler and stablecoin hearing should embolden crypto's builders to fight enemies in DC. It's been reasonable to give the benefit of the doubt to industry opponents and focus on education, but this week's showcase highlighted only bad faith on the part of our detractors. Now, down here, there are 4 types of politicos in DC right now. 1, I get crypto. It should be legal and reasonably regulated. 2, I do not understand crypto, but am willing to learn. 3, I don't care about crypto. We have bigger issues. And 4, crypto threatens state control and must be killed. Yes, these are the 4 major narratives as well being pushed. But then down here, obviously, we appreciate those in bucket 1, but we should also appreciate and continue to invest time with those in bucket 2 and 3. And with bucket 2, that means clear communications. With bucket 3, that means reframing crypto's value. There aren't many bucket 4 leaders, but for those who are opponents, it must be costly. And it needs to be obvious to vulnerable bucket 2 and 3 leaders that gravitating to number 4 will be even more costly. At the same time, we donate to bucket 1 leaders as carrots, sticks in DC. So yeah, as we do look at what's happening, I think that we have a lot to do. I think that these hearings were a clear sign that there's still a lot of work on the forefront to do around crypto and crypto regulations. There's still a lot of unanswered questions that we have. There's also a lot of things that have not been fully answered from Gary's side. The SEC itself is up in question. Like I said, they do have plans to restructure this. Sorry, let me go back to that tweet. So, you know, they do have this plan to restructure the SEC and essentially remove Gary Gensler. That will be the best case scenario because I do think that the SEC needs to have a full restructure. I do believe that we need to see a new chair for the SEC as well because so far they have failed. And, you know, this is a five minute long video. Obviously, I'm not going to play it, but we do see I sent SEC Gov Chair Gensler a letter weeks ago. He has failed to answer my letter. By ignoring our letters, he is effectively ignoring the American people. And this right here, like, this should be enough to push him out because he has given up on the American people. Listen, he has not protected us. He has harmed us in more ways than, you know, possible. And ultimately speaking, when we look at what the SEC has done within the 2-year time frame, you know, they boast all these major letters that they've sent out and these actions that they've taken, but almost all of them have been in ill faith to the same investors that they're trying to protect. So as we really kind of look at the SEC and Gary Gensler, they both have failed drastically. The SEC needs a restructure. Gary Gensler needs to be gone. And this has been a thing that we've been talking about for so long. And I cannot wait until the day that we fully have Ripple on the forefront for American innovation, because Ripple, as an American company, has been innovating greatly around crypto, not just XRP. Although, yes, I do believe that XRP will finally be unleashed as well to the US. I'm very excited for the future around crypto and regulations. I know that, you know, for 2 years, we've been sitting here talking about this case. It gets tiresome, you know, for me to just even talk about it, but I'm sure that it is very tiresome for those out there that have been listening to it and waiting for something big to happen, but also those XRP holders. I feel for all of you because I myself am an XRP holder, and it does take a lot of the excitement out of any sort of run up in the market. But so far, XRP has held up very well for the last 2 years. We've seen it go to almost $2. It's holding around roughly 40 some cents right now. For the most part, I will say XRP is still one of the strongest assets within the space. It has a ton of utility outside of what Ripple's doing with it. Personally speaking, I could care less about what Ripple does with XRP. I'm very excited, still on the forefront of the XRP ledger and the power and the potential behind XRP as a digital asset, and ultimately the power and the potential behind crypto as an entire industry. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. So it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night. Wherever you guys are on this world, it's been Nick. Peace out, guys.